You know, it'd be great if we had a massive JRPG available on mobile devices. Why the fuck would anyone even want that? So, for some reason, Square Enix and their genius ways thought it would be a perfect time, a perfect idea, to bring Octopath Traveler to mobile. Now, some people have been kind of confused of what this means. This does not mean Octopath Traveler, like the same game as the Switch version, will be on phones. It's not a port. It's kind of like a new side game of sorts. What does this side game entail? Well, if you look at the screenshots, which I'll try to maybe edit somewhere around here, maybe on my beautiful face, you'll notice that there's a lot of differences, like different characters, more characters on screen at once, and it's said to be a different kind of game altogether. Like, there will be rails where you can't fully control your character, but you can control the direction of the rail they walk on. So, like, if you swipe down, they'll head down the rail. If you swipe up, they'll kind of walk up the rail, right? And I assume it would mean the same if the rail was going from left to right too. Now, what is my thoughts on this, and what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you comment down below what your thoughts are. But basically, the way I feel about this game is kind of like, I don't want this. I mean, I like the idea of having a new story for Octopath Traveler. I'm totally on board for that, right? But it's not really about that. It's kind of just like, why on mobile? I mean, I understand why. Like, realistically, they're gonna make a lot more money if they put this on mobile, especially with how popular mobile gaming is. Like, I know the Switch is mobile, and that's why Octopath Traveler sold very well. JRPG from Japan on the Switch. Like, yeah, you know what? Makes sense why it'd be successful in Japan. Makes perfect sense. The shortages of the game, I don't know if you heard about that, but there were actual shortages for the game when it first released. Not that surprising, honestly. Really not. It's not surprising that they would put the game on phones. I mean, it was kind of like a random shock that it sold that well, but you know, it did extremely well, right? So, you know, my thoughts are kind of just like, I wish this was more of a kind of like an expansion to the current Octopath Traveler, because there's no real DLC for that game. Like, you can't just go on Octopath Traveler, buy a DLC, and get a new story. It's kind of just, you just buy Octopath Traveler, and that's it. That's your game, right? So I kind of wish, like, whatever story this game has, is kind of canon to the Octopath, like, world. So it makes me kind of wish that the story was available, or this game rather, is available as a DLC for the regular Octopath Traveler, so Switch owners can experience the story too, and, you know, get into it or whatever. It looks like the game's going to be a free-to-play game, because I don't understand Japanese in any stretch of the imagination, but when you check out the page, it kind of says something along the lines of buy model free or something. Like, the word free is in there, so I assume that means free-to-play. Maybe microtransactions for items, I think, was also kind of mentioned in some capacity in the little, like, screenshot I saw. So if it's free to play, while I'm not the biggest fan of you know, this whole thing, I do think that since it's free, it does mean that I can at least try it. I don't see why not. Like, I could try it, and if I can stomach it enough to want to continue playing, then I'll continue playing. Why not? What do I have to lose? And I'm definitely not gonna put any money into it. That's for a fact. Like, I have no interest in putting money into a mobile game. I don't care at all. I'm not doing it. So that's just how I look at it. But yeah, I would have really liked this if this was more of a expansion of some sort, or like maybe I know it's probably not enough to be a sequel. I mean, let's face it. If it's being put into a mobile game, there's gonna be a lot of filler. So this story, I imagine, is not gonna be like a, you know, a full-fledged written story that would fit a whole new sequel. So I don't expect that, but an expansion, a story expansion of some kind for the current Octopath Traveler would have been great, and Switch owners would have been able to play it. But I mean, hey, you know, I don't really care that it's on mobile that much. I mean, I do, but it's more about the fact that I don't really like playing on mobile controls and playing a big JRPG like that on my phone with touchscreen and very basic. It just kind of dialed back from what it is. Just feels really limiting. It no longer becomes the same game at that point. I mean, it looks the same. Like, if you look at the visuals, it looks pretty much the same, but it's not, because again, the rail thing, you can't just walk around. You have to like do things very limited. Also, just a quick theory. It looks like, if I'm right, that the microtransactions are there and it is a free-to-play game, judging by that description. It mentions items as part of like purchases, and there's a screenshot where you see like 8 characters on screen at once. So it kind of seems like they purposely made it so that you can have more characters on screen at once. So you'd have to buy more items for your characters at once and make it more likely for you to want to spend on microtransactions, because those microtransactions are tied to items. That kind of sucks, but I don't know. Maybe I'm being too negative, but I felt the same way when they revealed Castlevania, when they were having a new Castlevania game and it ended up being a mobile title. I think Diablo fans felt the same way when the next big Diablo game ended up being Diablo Immortal. Like, it's just, it's not that these games as a whole are, I guess, terrible to an extent. I mean, maybe some are, but I do feel like if games like this ended up on Switch, or Diablo Immortal ended up on PC, or Castlevania ended up on whatever platforms, like other consoles or PC, I feel like people wouldn't complain as much. I mean, sure, there will be people who complain as a whole, but I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't be as much. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm not an expert on. I'm not a gaming analyst, right? So I don't know. Just, I guess, let me know how you guys feel. Maybe I'm being too negative on it. Maybe I'm being too optimistic on it. Because like I said, I am gonna play it regardless. So it's not like I'm not mad enough to the point where I'm going to boycott this game or some shit. No, it's not that great. It's not that deep, you know. I'll give it a shot. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. But knowing myself, 9 times out of 10, when it's stuck on my phone, I don't really play for that long at all. I think the only games I still have installed are Fire Emblem Heroes and I think Mario Run, and that's it. Every other game, Animal Crossing, Dragalia Lost, like all these other games, they just haven't stuck. I mean, they were all fun to an extent, but they just haven't stuck. I might reinstall that Shin Megami Tensei game though. They put Bayonetta in it, and it makes me kind of want to try it again. But like I said, let me know how you guys feel. Are you gonna play Octopath Traveler Mobile? Are you just gonna boycott it? You just have no interest in it whatsoever? And yeah, I guess that's it. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, and like the video if you do. And until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.